Thank God Daniel Penny has been found not guilty. Thank God. Thank God. I think all of us are feeling the same thing. Thank God. And how on earth was he charged in the first place? Right? And we are going to dissect those two questions. Well, thank God is something we're thinking about a lot these days. I think since November 5th, a lot of us have been saying that many, many times. Things are about to change in America for the good, in the world for the good. They're already starting to. But it feels like divine intervention because that thug, Alvin Bragg, brought these charges where they never should have been brought. And then as his case was falling apart on Friday, you remember we had Maureen here, Callahan, he refused to accept a mistrial when the jury was hung. They were hung on the most serious charge that had been brought against Daniel Penny, accused of killing Jordan Neely, just a Michael Jackson impersonator on the subway. No, that's not what happened. Jordan Neely got on that subway and was menacing, seriously threatening the other passengers. They were terrified and they testified to exactly that in front of this jury. They never should have brought the case, but Bragg charged reckless homicide against Daniel Penny, which is a very serious charge. It's manslaughter. And the jury could not reach a verdict on it. The next rung down was criminally negligent homicide, which is a lower burden, right? Recklessness is worse than negligence. Recklessness is you see the risk and you recklessly disregard it. Negligent is you were negligent in failing to see the risk. But Bragg only charged that top charge to try to get to a compromise verdict on negligent homicide. He knew he didn't have Daniel Penny on recklessness. That disgusting thug. Again, he did this to Trump, and now he did this to Daniel Penny, and now finally a jury has given him the double-barrel bird of F off, Alvin Bragg. Stop doing this shit. He won with his first jury with Trump, as you know, but the American people overruled him. So now the jury was sent back to go deliberate on the serious but less serious charge of criminally negligent homicide. And that's where they were told to resume this morning at 9 a.m. And Alvin Bragg's play was that once they couldn't get to a verdict on the most serious one, in his mind, I think he thought they'd been in the jury room and they'd say, okay, his best case scenario was they'd go along with him on that one. His next best was they won't go along with me on that and they'll acquit on that one. But as a compromise verdict, they'll go for the negligent homicide. What happened on Friday was they couldn't reach a verdict on the most serious charge. And that's the point at which the defense lawyer asked for a mistrial. And that request should have been granted. That's what should have happened. But instead, they allowed the prosecution to drop the charge, like it had never been brought. Like, we can just keep going. Let's just not pretend the jury's deadlocked at all. We still have a viable claim in there. And the judge did it. And so there was real risk. Can you imagine if the jury had gone along with this and it said, okay, all right, fine, we will find him guilty of the one he was really going for all along, the criminally negligent homicide. Well, they didn't. They saw through this farce of a trial. Per Matthew Russell, who's with Inner City Press, he was inside the courtroom when the verdict was read. He reports that applause rang out from Daniel Penny's side in the courtroom. Meanwhile, someone over on Neely's side, some are describing him as the victim. He wasn't the victim. He was the aggressor. He was the criminal on that subway car that day who was seriously threatening other passengers. He had a long history of hurting them. And somebody on his side yelled out in the courtroom, "It's a racist country. Hello, madam or sir, that's not working anymore. You're going to have to find a new line. I don't know what it's going to be. But the BLM era is officially over. It's over. You had us in some sort of weird, psychotic headspin for 4 or 5 years, and it's done. Trump's reelected, and Daniel Penny is acquitted in one of the most leftist jurisdictions in America, despite the fact that he is white and Jordan Neely was black. And they're still yelling, "It's a racist country, you fools. You absolute fools. And by the way, it's not just someone over on Jordan Neely's side. We had news coming into today that the outgoing chair of the DNC said his party is insane if they think the message of this election was to rethink identity politics. Double down, sir. Triple down. Quadruple. Do it. Enjoy oblivion. Enjoy your desert island where you have no one applauding anything you say and certainly no one voting for you. I look forward to watching you there. CNN reports that Neely's father also had to be escorted from the courtroom after shouting an expletive. Where was he? Where was he when Jordan Neely had dozens of arrests over the years, when he was punching 67-year-old women in the face? Where was the grieving dad then? I'm not sure. Now he's suing Daniel Penny. Oh, okay. You're going to get your money. Now you're totally behind your son. I don't feel sorry for you. I don't. Sorry, I don't. Meantime, the Associated Press did what that vile organization always does. Sent out a breaking news tweet on the verdict that read, "Breaking. Daniel Penny, the veteran who used a chokehold on subway rider Jordan Neely, has been acquitted in Neely's death." Yes. Neely, who went on the train and, was just singing and dancing in his Michael Jackson routine. Is that what he was doing, AP? Or was there more than that? He actually was shouting out at the commuters, "Someone's going to die today." He was on K2, some hugely intensive drug. There was testimony that the drugs could have been the cause of his death. That's how cracked up he was. And he's just a regular subway rider. Mean, terrible, racist Jordan Neely, for some unknown reason, put him in a chokehold and died and killed him, notwithstanding all the evidence we have about what Jordan Neely was doing to the subway riders that day. Joining me now to discuss it all, Batya Ungar-Sargon. She's opinion editor for Newsweek and author of Second Class, How the Elites Betrayed America's Working Men and Women. Batya, welcome back. What do you make of this verdict?
Thank you so much for having me on this great day for our nation. I think you're totally right that this joins Donald Trump's massive victory in dispelling the mythology that the leftist elites would have us believe, that this country is divided by race or still racist or even divided by a political party. I think what this verdict shows is that we are no longer under the grip of this false myth that we're still racist, that we're divided by race, or even that we're divided by political party. You look at that jury and that jury looks a lot like America. And I think a lot of people were thinking, therefore they're going to side with Jordan Neely over Daniel Penny. And of course they didn't. It's such a great day for America. And I just am so grateful to God. I think the other thing that's happening here, Megyn, is, the Daniel Penny trial was really a mirror for a debate that this country is having about masculinity, right? We're talking a lot about this idea of, toxic masculinity. Should men be embarrassed to be men, to be macho, to be protectors or want to be protectors, to be providers or want to be providers? Or are those things that a society actually needs? And I think that this trial was so much about that, about a man standing up in a subway car full of women and children and saying, I will not allow these women to be threatened in this manner, to be terrified when I am sitting here, because of course God probably put me here for exactly this reason. And I think the way that you saw this case was very much, what side of this debate do you fall on? Do you think that a society actually needs strong men, providers, defenders, men who are proud to be men in order to function? Or do you think that we should continue down the leftist path of demanding that men apologize for being men, just like we've demanded that white people apologize for being white? And what this verdict shows, Megyn, is that this is not a divide between left versus right. This is a divide between a leftist crazy elite who hates this country, hates men, hates white people, and the rest of us who are totally united around love of country, love of our fellow Americans, regardless of their race, and the desire for women and children to be protected and safe, and for men to be able to take pride in being men.
as if Daniel Penny would have behaved any differently if Jordan Neely had come onto that subway car, done exactly the same things, but had been a white guy. It's absurd. There's absolutely no reason, nothing in his history, nothing to suggest any of that. Race had nothing to do with this. It was Jordan Neely's behavior that had to do with this. This is from outside of the courtroom, I understand, and it's a Jordan Neely supporter reacting to the not guilty verdict.
Got to stop that. We have to change how we impact each other. Jordan came on that subway car. The first thing he asked for was food, and he was killed. And the person who killed him was not held responsible. We cannot allow this to keep happening.
That is such an outrage. I'll tell you, full disclosure, nobody will be shocked. A, I live in Connecticut, and B, I don't really have to anymore. I don't ride the subway anymore, but I used to ride it every day for years to get to work, both when I was a lawyer and when I was at Fox. And I've had countless subway riders approach me for money or food or some sort of handout. Countless. That happens to every New Yorker every day they're down there. This was something entirely different. And how dare he try to lump Jordan Neely in with the vast majority of people who are homeless, who are on the subway, who are trying to get some sort of a handout. That's not what this was at all. He was in a class, not of one, but a smaller, but more pernicious class of subway rider that you know as a subway rider are genuinely dangerous to you or your children.
100%. I ride the subway all the time. There are a lot of people who are on the subway who I wish weren't on the subway because of the way that they are acting, the way that they smell, the way that they are talking to me or other people. But the idea that they need to be restrained, I think none of us would have accepted that. And you're totally right that this was a completely different situation. You saw footage that came out during the trial of women saying, I'm so glad that Daniel Penny was there because I felt so scared. There was a woman there with a child who was trying to protect her child, people hiding, people trying to get away from it. These are very different from the sort of average, although also, disturbing situations that one encounters very regularly on the subway, which would not have warranted anything close to what Daniel Penny did. That said, there has been a lot of improvement on the subway. I think, Eric Adams really did take this to heart. He was very much on the right side of this. He came out in defense of Daniel Penny and said that what he did was totally legitimate. Former cop Eric Adams. And so I think they have been making an effort to really clean up the subway in this way. But I think you're totally right about that, Megyn.
Reality check, everyone. People look at your jawline. They do. Yes, a sagging jawline or double chin can give your age away like that. Introducing the Genucel jawline treatment with dual peptide and MDL technology, Genucel's most advanced ever technology. People go abroad and spend thousands of bucks to get rid of a sagging jawline or double chin. Well, maybe they should try Genucel first. And with the Genucel Immediate Effects product, you could see tightening in minutes. And just in time for the Christmas and holiday season, save over 70% off Genucel's complete skincare package featuring the jawline treatment and Genucel Immediate Effects product. You will even get Genucel XV wrinkle treatment included for Christmas and the holidays. Go to Genucel.com/MK today. That's GENUCEL.com/MK. And as a special holiday gift, every package order includes a bonus beauty box with 2 skincare best sellers. All orders automatically upgraded to free priority shipping. Genucel.com/MK. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.